So, well, you mentioned just You Shout Rise, which is a track from the album. So, what significance does that track have for you?
Well, it's turned out to be a much more significant song, not only for us but for our fans, than we had ever anticipated. When we wrote it, of course, we were in the midst. You know, we wrote it in America, and we were in the midst of this crazy election cycle we've been having, and so we were reacting to kind of the chaos of that. But we were also really reflecting on what was going on in the world with terrorism and just how so many people are in need of some change, you know. And so Rise really came up out of that, and it was really something to empower people, no matter what it was that's troubling them, empowering them to not just sit on their hands, to actually do something about it. And I think that what surprised us, a very pleasant surprise, was when we released that as our first single, how immediately it started resonating with people around the world. And it's kind of become their anthem. And we've had so many of our fans reach out to us and say, that song reminded me that I do have a choice and I do have a voice. So that's been exciting for us.
And well, obviously there has been, just the other day, a horrific shooting in Orlando, so that makes it even more poignant in a way.
Well, sadly, yeah, we keep on having these moments where we all have to stop and collect our thoughts and reevaluate just about everything, and it seems like it's happening more and more often. And I think that you know, the song "Rise of the Melancholy Empire," which is the last song on Volume 1, really deals with that, and it talks about just how, you know, we keep on having these moments, and after these moments happen, we say, we cannot let them win. We cannot let the terrorists win. We have to be strong. We have to become stronger from this. And so Rise of the Melancholy Empire actually was written immediately following the Paris attacks. And sadly, we now have another event that it just, that song rings so true again and again. And I think that we all pray that one day we don't have to keep standing up and saying, you will not defeat us, you know, because hopefully someday we will defeat them, and you know, but it's very, very difficult to keep having to have this same conversation with a new event every single time, and the events in Florida are just, you know, just inexplicable.
But then again, well, with the record and a little bit more overall, it is still a very hopeful record. There is a lot of hope in the lyrics.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is that important to have that while focusing on these horrific things? But
it's always been our way. It's really always been our way, is that we find hope in the darkest places, but we also bring out the darkness, and we bring out the facts and the truth, and sometimes it's poetic and colorful, and it's laid down with you know, heavy guitars and beautiful vocals, but at the end it comes out, life is beautiful, you know, lies the beautiful people, this is gonna hurt, rise, stars. It's just kind of the way of the band. I think it's our intuition to do that musically.
Yeah, I think that it can be the difference between a one-listen song and a song that lasts a lifetime. If you have a reason to keep going back to it, you know, and we found that with Life is Beautiful, and that was really something that really stuck in our heads, you know. If you're just writing a song that is focusing on the darkness, eventually you won't go back to that song.
Yeah, and we find to be too superficial for us. We wouldn't be serving ourselves, as well as now we have a lot of fans that kind of look forward to our music because they find something in it, songs like Skin, etc. So we've kind of, you know, as people being friends, found ourselves in a room writing music that was natural, and now it's a bit of a responsibility as well.
It really is. Like when we wrote Life is Beautiful, it meant the world to all three of us, and it meant something a little different to each of us too. And then as the song came out and became a hit, we realized how many people it was touching, and it literally blew us away. And we do kind of feel a sense of responsibility when we're going to write songs now, you know, because we had no idea our songs were going to help and touch so many people.
In fact, what we did with Rise is we started something on social media called the Reason to Rise campaign. And what that was is that each of us took a subject matter that was very, very special to us. Nikki, of course, dealt with the ongoing heroin epidemic, which sadly is worse now than it ever has been. DJ dealt with the bullying issue, which is something that he's been very passionate about all his life. And I dealt with human trafficking, which is sadly a very underreported epidemic in this world. But it didn't stop there. That was just the starting point. And what we then did was ask our fans to tell us what is their reason to rise. And that's when the floodgates opened, and it was just amazing to see people's stories and people's causes, some very small and personal and intimate, and some very, very global. But I think that again speaks to what has always been at the heart of 6 a.m. music, is the fact that one song can have 1,000 different meanings.
What was the best reaction or most memorable reaction you've had to Rise?
Oh
and
my gosh!
To what you just mentioned.
You know, honestly,
so
we're talking thousands. It would be hard to pick one, because the truth is everybody's story is equally as important as the next. Everyone's life is a movie waiting to be made. So whether it is whether it was a young mother whose daughter has cancer. You can go down that road and just become so emotionally involved in stories like that, and you do. Or somebody who lost somebody in a terrorist attack. So all of those issues are important. All of those issues are a reason to rise.
Last question, my time's up. It's more for Nikki, but Prayers of the Damned Volume 1, which means Volume 2 will be coming sometime soon. Nikki, you just retired with Mötley Crüe. Where does the drive come from? Because instead of resting on your laurels, you just keep going.
Well, I mean, somebody asked me, what I was going to do when I retired, and I kind of thought, what does that mean? So I do something that I love since being a teenager, and I was very fortunate. I worked very hard, and I was very successful. And we all decided together to end it, totally separate than anything that we were doing as a band. It was a separate decision. It had nothing to do with 6 a.m. And then conceptually, I guess I should just go home and get fat. That's it.
Well, you succeeded at that.
I succeeded at that. But it's like, seriously, it's like, what does that mean? Because the same thing that happened when I was a teenager happens when I sit in a room with James and DJ. It's like that desire.
So the passion is the same.
It's a desire to create, and I think that, I don't know, I don't understand that, like, it's now time to stop. And is that like an age thing, or is that like you sold your business and you're 35, so now you should just sail the world, on your yacht? It's like, I think anybody that's driven is always driven. And I look at like the guys in the Stones. I mean, it's like they're still making music because Keith still loves to play guitar. And that, in the end, I think we're going to be one of those bands that we're not going to be like making it just because it's popular or not popular. We're not going to be really swayed by that so much as swayed by ourselves and what we want to do musically. And I think this band's going to, as time goes on, going to really be open to a lot of new experiences with technology growing and opportunities that are out there, like the Heroin Diaries is being turned into a Broadway play. Well, 90% of the music is our music that is the soundtrack to the play, as well as that we're writing new music for it. So there's stuff like that for 6 a.m. So, one thing was amazing, and I'll forever be like, wow, I was lucky to be in that band. But what's 15 years look like from here, 20 years from now? Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.